The Otis elevator climbing the south pillar of the Eiffel Tower was overflowing with tourists. Inside the cramped lift, an austere businessman in a pressed suit gazed down at the boy beside him. "You look pale, son. You should have stayed on the ground." "I'm okay," the boy answered, struggling to control his anxiety. "I'll get out on the next level." "I can't breathe." The man leaned closer. "I thought by now you would have gotten over this." He brushed the child's cheek affectionately. The boy felt ashamed to disappoint his father, but he could barely hear through the ringing in his ears. "I can't breathe. I've got to get out of this box." The elevator operator was saying something reassuring about the lift's articulated pistons and puddled iron construction. Far beneath them, the streets of Paris stretched out in all directions. "Almost there," the boy told himself, craning his neck and looking up at the unloading platform. "Just hold on." As the lift angled steeply toward the upper viewing deck, the shaft began to narrow, its massive struts contracting into a tight vertical tunnel. "Dad, I don't think..." Suddenly a staccato crack echoed overhead. The carriage jerked, swaying awkwardly to one side. Frayed cables began whipping around the carriage, thrashing like snakes. The boy reached out for his father. "Dad!" Their eyes locked for one terrifying second. Then the bottom dropped out. Robert Langdon jolted upright in his soft leather seat, startling out of the semi-conscious daydream. He was sitting all alone in the enormous cabin of a Falcon 2000 EX corporate jet as it bounced its way through turbulence. In the background, the dual Pratt and Whitney engines hummed evenly. "Mr. Langdon," the intercom crackled overhead, "we're on final approach." Langdon sat up straight and slid his lecture notes back into his leather day bag. He'd been halfway through reviewing Masonic symbology when his mind had drifted. The daydream about his late father, Langdon suspected, had been stirred by this morning's unexpected invitation from Langdon's longtime mentor, Peter Solomon. The other man I never want to disappoint. The 58-year-old philanthropist, historian and scientist had taken Langdon under his wing nearly 30 years ago, in many ways filling the void left by Langdon's father's death. Despite the man's influential family dynasty and massive wealth, Langdon had found humility and warmth in Solomon's soft grey eyes. Outside the window the sun had set, but Langdon could still make out the slender silhouette of the world's largest obelisk, rising on the horizon like the spire of an ancient gnomon. The 555-foot marble-faced obelisk marked this nation's heart. All around the spire, the meticulous geometry of streets and monuments radiated outwards. Even from there, Washington, D.C. exuded an almost mystical power. Langdon loved this city, and as the jet touched down, he felt a rising excitement about what lay ahead. The jet taxied to a private terminal somewhere in the vast expanse of Dulles International Airport and came to a stop. Langdon gathered his things, thanked the pilots, and stepped out of the jet's luxurious interior onto the fold-out staircase. The cold January air felt liberating. "Breathe, Robert," he thought, appreciating the wide open spaces. A blanket of white fog crept across the runway, and Langdon had the sensation he was stepping into a marsh as he descended onto the misty tarmac. "Hello, hello," a sing-song British voice shouted from across the tarmac. "Professor Langdon." Langdon looked up to see a middle-aged woman with a badge and clipboard hurrying toward him, waving happily as he approached. Curly blonde hair protruded from under a stylish knit wool hat. "Welcome to Washington, sir." Langdon smiled. "Thank you. My name is Pam from Passenger Services." The woman spoke with an exuberance that was almost unsettling. "If you'll come with me, sir, your car is waiting." Langdon followed her across the runway towards the signature terminal, which was surrounded by glistening private jets, a taxi stand for the rich and famous.